Okay, I'm going to show you how to merge, append, and transpose data. So I'm going to start off working with these animal data sets. I'm going to read in animal 50. And what this shows me is 50 different animals, a group that they're assigned to, primate, mammal, rodent, etc. Their weight in kilograms, and I have two more animal data sets over here. This animal more, it looks just like animal 50, but is 10 more observations. And animal brain contains similar animals and their brain weight. So here I have read in the animal 50 data, and now I'm going to read in the animal more data. I'm just going to copy and paste and edit my proc import statement so I don't have to actually go through the GUI interface because that's sort of a pain. Animal 50, and I'm actually just going to add some replace statements here because I like to run these things again and again. Okay, so now let's read in animal more. So here's my output data for the animal more, and you can see very similar body kilogram group and just 10 more animals. So I don't really want these two data sets apart. I want them on top of each other. I don't want a data set with 50 and a data set with 10. I want one data set stacked. So I want one data set with 60 observations in it. And that's what we mean by append or stack. It means you have two very, very similar data sets and you just want to combine them on top of each other. It's just like adding rows to an Excel spreadsheet. So the way that I'm going to do that is in a data step. I take data and I'm going to call this like animals. I'll call it animal 60. I'll do that. And it is going to come from the existing set animal 50 and animal more. That's it. When I run this, now I have a data set with 60 rows and the same 3 columns. Now that worked because my columns were in the same order and they had exactly the same names. So if your columns don't have the same names, like names that SAS sees it as the same exact name, you have to rename them first. So like if in animal 50 this was called animals, and in animal more it was called animal, you'd have to actually change that variable name so that they were consistent with each other. So as long as your variable names are consistent, you can just use this set statement and just put the two data sets that you actually want to append or stack just like that. So these two steps convert the Excel data into a SAS data set. Once they're in SAS data sets, I can use the data step to actually append them. Okay, so that's appending. Now let's talk about merging. Let's read in this. Next one, brain weights. So now we're going to have another column called brain that shows the weight of the animal's brain. So again, I'm just going to modify this import statement. Animal brain, come here, run it, and you can see here's the animal name and here's the brain weight in grams. So you can picture this looks different than the data set we had before where I had animal, group, and body kilogram. So I'm not going to stack this one. I'm not going to append it. I want to merge it. Basically, I want to take this brain weight and stick it on the side and add another column to my combined animals data set. So that's what I want to do. That's called merging. So the way that I'm going to merge is again in a data step, and I'm going to create a new data set called animals merged, or I'll just call it animals M to say it's been merged. And it's going to be a merge statement. Merge which two? I want to merge animals and animal brain. Run. Whoops, something went wrong there. Ooh, you know what I need to do? A couple things. I have animal brain, check a couple things. That's, oh, it's not called animals, I called it animal 60. There we go. There we go. So now I have all the animal names, their group, body weight, and their brain weight. So it looks like there was one animal in one data set that did not exist in the other. And that's why it kept it, but it left that value as missing. So now I've merged the data. A couple things to note. Let's say that this was a one-to-many merge. So what we just experienced was a one-to-one merge, meaning we had one animal in the body weight file and one animal in the brain weight. So it was just like I wanted one-to-one to put a column right there next to each other. So it recognized that animal was the unique identifier, so I didn't have to say anything about that. I didn't have to say, oh, match them by the animal name, because it recognized that. I could have added a by statement here and said, merge them by animal. If I do this, I have to make sure both data sets are sorted by animal before I do that. And it's sort of unnecessary in a one-to-one merge, but it's essential in a one-to-many merge. So sometimes what happens is you have a data set where you have like an ID data set, like if I had student names in one data set, and then in another data set I had everybody's test scores. And so one person would have like 5 different test scores. And so they were represented 5 times in one data set and once in one data set. So that would be a one-to-many merge. And you can do that, just make sure you use this by statement so that we know how we are going to actually merge those data. So there we go with merging. So now let's talk about transposing, another kind of fun thing to do. I'm going to create a data set here just to walk through this example. So I'm going to create a data set. I'm going to call it sample. And I'm going to create 3 files, so 3 values. Input, let's call this like student, test, and score. So for each student, you'll have test 1 or test 2, maybe test 3, whatever, and then the score you got on that test. And so now I'm going to use data lines. And so let's say student A, let's make student character. Student A, test 1, and on this one they got a 75. Student A took test 2, and on this one they got an 88. Student A took test 3, and on this one they got an 85. Student B, test 1, a 76. B, test 2, a 75. B, test 3, a 78. We'll do one more. C, test 1, a 72. C, test 2, a 78. C, test 3, an 85. So I'm going to produce that data set. Okay, so now you can see this is a data set stored in a long format. Each person is represented 3 times in this data set. And you can see, I can clearly see what their scores were. But it's a little tricky if I wanted to ask a question like, what was the difference between a student's score on test 3 versus test 1? I'd want to take this 85 and subtract 75, which I could do if I had like the test scores stored in a wide format. There's ways I can do it stored in a long format, but it's not as intuitive. But we know if I had like score 1 here and score 3 here, I could create a change score just by taking score 3 minus score 1. So what I really want to do is instead of having a person represented 3 times here, I want a person represented once, and I want the columns to be like test 1, test 2, test 3, with a score under each one. So I can do that by transposing these data. So how do I do that? we're going to use the transpose procedure. So procedure, transpose. The data set I'm going to use is this one I just created. And I'm going to create a new transposed data set, so I know I can use this out option, and I'm going to call it T sample, meaning transposed sample. Call it whatever I want, though. A couple things I need here. The first is a by statement. So by is going to tell me what are going to be my rows. So like picture my new data set. This is my existing data set. My rows here are students, but each person's represented 3 times. What value do I want here for everybody to be represented once? I still want it to be student. I want them here just once. So I'm going to say do this by student. And then I'm going to say, all right, what variables do I want here? I want it to be test. I want this to say test 1, test 2, test 3. So really, it's these things here. I want this up here, this 1, 2, and 3. So it's this variable that I want to become my column. That's what ID means. ID test. So by tells me what do I want my rows to be. ID means what do I want my column headers to be. And var, that means if this is test 1, this is test 2, this is test 3. What numbers am I going to place right there? And it's the values underscore. So that becomes my var statement. So these are the 3 things you're looking for in a transpose procedure. Let's run that. And there's my output data. So you can see what I get. Each student is represented once. This is the values from test 1, test 2, and test 3. And then these were their scores for each of those tests. So this is my by, this is my ID, and this is my var. So you can see it's a lot easier now if I were to ask a question, what's the difference between test 3 and test 2? I could create a new difference variable of 3 minus 2. So it'd be pretty easy to work with these data. I'd also probably want to clean it up a bit. Rename these to be test 1, test 2, test 3, and drop this underscore name underscore variable. So that we know how to do in a cleaning step.